Good morning, everybody. So with today's video, top 10 spring cheapies for 2025. When I think of spring, I'm thinking of green grass, flowers, leaves are starting to sprout on the trees. First one, and not in any numerical order, is going to be Hugo Boss Hugo Just Different. I gotta state this, and I just found out this morning when I was actually getting my notes ready. This, if you get Hugo Boss Just Different, it's going to be in the shape of this now. So a lot of these Hugo fragrances, they're repackaging into these shaker bottles. God, it's been a long day of recording, so I'm sure it's been reformulated. But this does have that green component because it has basil, it's got mint, it also has freesia, which I don't get, but it also has green apple. It's also got coriander, cashmere, patchouli, olibanum, and labdanum. What it pretty much is, just like green, so basil and mint, green apple, so very green. You're gonna get a little bit of the spices, including that patchouli. The patchouli, I find, is that it's like a woody, earthy patchouli. This is actually quite nice. This is like an everyday fragrance, high school, college, all the way to an old guy. This, I think, was launched in 2012 or 2013. I can't remember, but in and around there. It's just an everyday, casual kind of fragrance. Really like it here. I better move my water because last time I did this, I kind of tasted a little bit of those chemicals. So, but yeah, fresh, woody, green, aromatic, just very mass appealing. I would say that this is going to be one of their more popular ones from the Hugo lineup. Next one, Jeremy Fragrance hyped this one to death, and I can understand why. This is really a cheapie, and it's really good. Guess Uomo. This is an older fragrance as well. I believe it came out in 96, 98. I might be completely wrong, but this is definitely a 90s fragrance. This has kumquat, coriander, cyclamen, aldehyde, cinnamon, clary sage, musk, ambergris, cedar, and more. This is pretty much just a very musky fragrance with aldehyde, so it's very airy. You get this citrusy kumquat, you get a little bit of the cedar, and there is this powdery touch. Now, I don't know if you're gonna get the cyclamen, but there is this powderiness from the musk itself. It's actually quite nice. It's fresh, it's very aromatic. Here, let's do it in the air. It definitely has a bit of that 90s vibe, which I like because I'm born in 77, so I'm a 90s kid. But it's very fresh, mass appealing, aromatic, and maybe a little dated for some people, but if you're a follower of Jeremy Fragrance, then you clearly, more than likely, have bought this and enjoyed it. It's a good fragrance in my opinion. I think it might resonate more so with someone who's a little bit older, only because it's just so musky and with a little bit of the powderiness. Generally, I find like super musky fragrances are more mature, and because that this came out in 98, I did check, so it's 27 years old. This is going to be older than a lot of the young people out there who are followers of a lot of the influencers who may be promoting this. It just is. It is what it is. But I think that any age can rock it. Wear what you want at the end of the day. Next fragrance was actually launched in 1999, so it's a bit of an older one, and this is actually a good fragrance. Ferragamo put on. This is a green woody fragrance with some florals. So florals in green, right? So the green aspect actually comes from fig or fig leaf. The florals itself come from the cyclamen, comes from the carnation, rose, a little bit of geranium. So there is a floral touch. It's not pronounced. It's more in the background. I don't get a lot of it. I get mostly a lot of fig and a lot of the woods. The woods are cedar, there is sandalwood, there is vetiver. There's also going to be some spices of like caraway and cardamom. It's a great spring fragrance that, yes, is older, so I think that this might resonate more with the older guys out there. It's a classy fragrance. It's a classy, mature fragrance that's actually quite versatile, and in my opinion, it's signature scent. Dress this down all the way to a tuxedo, in my opinion. For the next one, let's go with something a little bit more modern, shall we? But it's a little vintage as well. It's a little mature, I gotta admit. Montblanc Platinum Explorer. So launched in 2023. Very simple note breakdown. You're gonna get violet leaves, clary sage, and cedarwood, and that's what you get. I feel like there's a little bit of fresh lavender to kind of make this a little bit more airy. The violet leaves itself and the clary sage kind of like give it a bit of an old school feel. The violet leaves give off this aromatic feel, but like the lavender that I get feels like it has a little bit more of an airiness as well. The clary sage does give off this green herbal touch, and the cedarwood is going to be the backbone. I feel like as well, and maybe it's just me, it has a bit of an old school barbershop vibe, just a little bit. But this is a great spring fragrance. It's every day. Again, more mature I find, but if you're a younger guy who likes it, then you, of course, you wear it, wear what you want. But I find that this is just a great work scent. Overall, if you're looking for a great work scent out of all of these, like so far, I think I got 4, this is a great work scent. I would say that this one and this one are the best work scents so far. Next fragrance came out in 2014. For me, this is pretty rugged, and I like it. There is a little bit of a gently aspect, but it's definitely a very woody fragrance, and that's Vince Camuto Homme. This has a lot of juniper berries. There is birch, there is cedar. You're also gonna get artemisia, cypress, lemon, gin, and there's ozonic notes. For the most part, it's just woods. A very woody fragrance with a little bit of like ozonic feels or aldehydes, a little bit of that citrus, so lemon, gin. There is a little bit of this green herbalness, but it's not, it's more in the background. It's like, really, it's just overshadowed with a lot of the woods. It's like it's woody, but it's earthy at the same time. So it is rugged, but the freshness comes from like the lavender, comes from the gin, the lemon, and I like it. I would say like out of a lot of these Vince Camuto fragrances, this is one of the better ones. This brand unfortunately does get crapped on. Like the longevity on a lot of these are not great. You're gonna get anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. Some people get 3, some people get 5, but you know, 5 to 6 for me, I really can't complain. Next fragrance came out in 2005, and it's the epitome of a green spring fragrance. Dunhill Fresh. Fresh indeed. So you are gonna get like green notes. So maybe some green leaves, I don't know. But there is basil, there is mint, there is violet and iris. Both notes, iris and the violet, do give off a little bit of a powdery undertone, and I feel like the violet itself adds this extra airiness to it. There's going to be patchouli, there's going to be vetiver, cedar, mimosa, I believe. So pretty much just all the spring notes in one bottle. That's what it pretty much is. For me, this is an everyday scent for the everyday Joe. This is a fragrance for someone who only wants a few fragrances in their collection. Is it a wow type of fragrance? No. If you are more introverted and you just want a fragrance for the sake of wearing a fragrance, for something just to smell decent, this is the type of fragrance that you might want to look into. Next one, definitely the oldest, came out in 1990. Calvin Klein Eternity. This has been a bestseller for years and years. Even up until this very day, a lot of people are rocking this. This, in my opinion, does have that mature component, but young people have been commenting on my videos, like the short and the actual review, that they're saying, hey, I'm a young guy and I like it. There's nothing wrong with that. If you like something that's a little old school or like really old, like something that I find is like too old for me, wear what you want. But it definitely has that like that 90s DNA. It smells a little vintage. It's actually, when I smelled this when I was a young guy, I didn't like it. When I got into my YouTube journey, I didn't like it. But as I got older, I started to like it. I just started, my tastes have changed. I got a little bit more mature. But it definitely is green. So sage, basil, you're gonna get lemon, bergamot, lavender, there is geranium, musk, sandalwood, vetiver, and so on. For me, this is just green. It is herbal. You get some lavender. It's aromatic, like super airy. And the base itself, I feel like it's still like a little green, but it becomes a little bit more woody and a little bit more musky as well. This is just an everyday scent, and I don't work in an office, I work in a bus, but I've smelled this on some of my older coworkers, and I'm sure that some of the older guys who work in an office are rocking this as their signature scent. Next fragrance was launched in 2008, and this is a very fresh fragrance with a lot of citrus, but it has a lot of spices, so there's a little bit of a kick to this one here. Davidoff Adventure. This one does not get a lot of mention. I find that this itself is a great everyday scent. This is a great school fragrance. For me, great school and great work fragrance. You're gonna get mandarin orange along with lemon and bergamot. There is black pepper, pimento, sesame, mate, tea leaf, so citrusy, spicy, and green. But the base itself is very woody. So cedar, vetiver, and a lot of musk. Very fresh. For me, this is fresh from top to bottom. But I really like the spicy nuance with the citruses. It's really, really nice. So Adventure. I don't want to say it takes you on an adventure, but it really is a different type of scent. Like, I find that a lot of the Davidoff fragrances, I love cool water. Surprisingly, I do. I didn't when I was a kid. I love it now. Just very much like this one here. I grew into it. But this is just different than a lot of the other Davidoffs out there. We're down to 2 fragrances. Thank you. It's been a long morning of recording. I'm getting a little flustered, as you can probably tell. But this one here is a great scent that I came into later on in life. I think I came into it 6 or 7 years ago, but an older one, 2002 release. Calvin Klein Truth. This one unfortunately has been discontinued, or has been forgotten, and it may have been discontinued, I don't know. I think it's this one and Contradiction, which is also another great spring fragrance, but I think people are asking me if they've been reformulated or discontinued. I wouldn't be surprised, but you can still get these, including Contradiction, online very easily. This is just a very green fragrance. It's got like green leaves, it's got cardamom, it's got basil, firm, so definitely green. Warm spices, well, from the cardamom, you get some resins, red cedar, patchouli, and exotic woods. We're just gonna say woods and cedar. But there is this woody aspect, but for the most part, green, fresh green. And for me, it kind of has like a, after you mow the lawn, that freshness that's in the air, kind of has that vibe a little bit, but you throw in some cardamom, maybe a little bit of resins and the woods. For me, that's what this fragrance is. It kind of has as well a bit of a scent memory for like when you're going out hiking, like in the springtime. I love hiking, period. I'm just from Northern Ontario originally. I'm an outdoorsman. Believe it or not, I don't look like it, but I am. I love hiking. This kind of reminds me of the outdoors without the resins and of course the cardamom. Gotta state that, right? But just that freshness when you're out in the bush and it's morning, that's what this is. For me, this is a great work scent. And last but not least, this fragrance is not for everybody, but I would say it's one of my favorites in this video. Karl Lagerfeld for Him, 2014 release. This is not for everybody because it has a lot of violet. The violet makes this fragrance very airy, like super aromatic, but at the same time adds a lot of powdery undertones. You're also gonna get lavender, green apple, mandarin orange, a little bit of amber, and a little bit of sandalwood. For the most part, it's violet and apple with lavender. So I would say violet and lavender, then apple, then I would say it's gonna be like the amber and woods. For me, it's a phenomenal fragrance, but I would say it's like more of a modern day gentleman type of fragrance. Again, not for everybody. If you're like a burly masculine kind of guy, chances are this is not a fragrance that you're really gonna reach for. What you would reach for, I would say something like this, hell, even something like this. Just the powdery undertones makes this, in my opinion, a very gently type of fragrance. And guys, that is top 10 spring cheapies for 2025. Again, any reviews that I've done on these fragrances, they will all be in the description box below. I have talked about all of them. If you like this very video, please drop me one of these. It does show YouTube and the algorithms that you like this type of content. What videos to watch next? Why don't you check out years prior right here of top cheapies. So I thank you for the time. Take care, and I will see you later. Thanks for watching, everybody.